invite you guys again to another version or edition of Strength Through Stress, brought to you by Top Virtual Staffing Solutions. Again, let's all continue to grow, learn, and innovate with one another. Please, we appreciate you guys following us on all of our social media sites. Thank you. And if you have questions, feel free to go ahead and reach out to us at the contact information is identified here. Right. So we are on our 16th session for Strength Through Stress. And as always, we're going to do a review regarding the journal last time in relation to willpower and growth mindset. And then for today, we are going to discuss the stress-prone personality, the survivor personality, self-esteem, and in relation to technology and what it does for our personality. And as always, for today's session, we're going to discuss a different set of journal, willpower, and growth mindset sections. Just like before, please make sure you apply what was discussed on session 6, Psychology of Stress, Part 3, Critical and Scientific Thinking, Metacognition, and Higher Order Thinking Skills. And this is what it looks like in that section. Again, this is just for informational or educational purposes only. And please make sure that you dial 911 or talk to your medical professional for anything that could be brought about in watching these videos. Right. Ground rules, just like before. And right now, what we want to highlight regarding why these sessions are free is because we want you guys to donate to worthwhile causes, specifically for the Harakanda Center or Jarakanda Center, okay? However you want to go ahead and say it. And at the same time, if you want to go ahead and support all of our initiative for nonprofit organizations, please go to our GoFundMe page in this regard. And then why free? We also want to go ahead and share that we have free virtual town hall sessions, wherein we focus in one of the sessions, we focus on prevention and continued healthcare services in relation to Omedicist and AAA physical therapy. So why free? What do you want us to address, to be addressing for you? And Miko, do you have questions for me? None? Okay. All right, let's do a review from the last session. We discussed the last few personality types or traits. One of them is hardy versus hopeless or helpless personality. And then at the same time, the importance of commitment and the control that we have with the choices that we make. So any questions with those sections? None? Okay. All right, so Journal 17, this is what we had last time. And we focused on locus of control, speaking of control, wherein we focused on external and internal locus of control. So is your motivation how you go ahead and make your choices? Is it from within or based on what other people tell you to do? And is your drive from within, or it's just based on external situations? So Miko, this time, feel free to go ahead and share your own personal examples. Make sure you take off your mute.
Sorry. I don't think it, not all the time I get my motivation from others, but there are various times that I do.
Okay.
So I'm giving an example of something that within me, motivated within me. Yeah, I can't speak right now. My motivation is within me. So that's my example right now. So
go ahead.
So we have the proposal, right? That I do all my responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just doing that so I can watch TV,
Okay.
but I'm also doing that. And this is not my choice, not yours. This is my choice, not yours. So I have to do my responsibilities and take out the trash that I've done from these granola bars. So, and yes, so within me, I'm trying to get used to this quote unquote habit. So when I'm older or when I have to start taking care of you, I know what to do.
Okay. So with the proposal that we have is that you get to watch something for 30 minutes because again, for the most part, you don't watch anyway. And so, but at least by you being responsible, but that's what you're saying is that you're not taking care of responsibilities so that you can watch. You're taking care of responsibilities so you develop these habits.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then at the same time, habits, and at the same time, because for example, in terms of water for the dog, that's just a basic need that the dog can't get for herself, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay, for the willpower discussion, we talked about green power, the importance of getting out in Mother Nature, getting close to Mother Nature, eating greens, having fresh air, and while you're out and about, doing some simple stretches. So is there anything here that you can share or discuss and relate to you?
I did definitely do Mother Nature. We have a backyard. Our backyard is filled with some plants, and there are raspberries, blackberries, blueberries. I got 2 raspberries. Blackberries are still waiting.
Okay.
And there's still 2 really young blueberries. So I decided to pick some dill because he's almost as tall as me now. So I cut some off, and I smelled it.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, it was strong.
It was what?
Strong. The smell of the dill was extremely strong, so I went in to make my mom smell it. So
It's a big deal.
well, not big but tall.
Okay. I don't know if you got my pun there.
No,
It's a big deal.
oh. See.
All right, moving on. Before I stress you out with my puns. All right, let's move on to growth mindset. So we discussed about being thrilled of what is challenging. What was the last challenge that you like? What challenge do you remember the most? Where you succeeded? Oops, I clicked too much there. So is there any item here that you are willing to share? Previously.
Well, the challenge, I think, during this week.
Okay.
Wait, it's a new week. Last week, a challenge that I remember the most that I succeeded. And this is kind of a hardy personality type thing.
Okay.
So there's a internet Scrabble club where you can play Scrabble virtually. And I was going up against someone whose rating was much higher than mine. Rating depends on how good you are. So, and I thought that it was one of your buddies, you know? Your buddy's dad. So I figured out, I've seen you play against him, so I was really determined to use almost the same strategy you do.
Well, hopefully better, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, and I won, but that's not the good part. The good part is I kind of related it to, I have a bingo, which is a 7-letter or 8-letter, more than 7 letters as a word. I had a bingo called Princely, and I related it to a movie that I watched on my mom's birthday. It's called The Little Prince. So my determination was to really kind of follow in your footsteps. If you get what I mean.
Yeah, but like I said, hopefully be better. That's the objective here.
And yeah. And that's when I just realized he did a bingo right after I did Princely. Or I'm not sure. So that's the challenge I remember.
The important thing here is that even if the rating was way higher than you, that you tried to compete, and sure, the results that you won. But the important thing is you tried to strategize the best way that you could and come up with words that you are thinking of while relating it to some of the things that you have experienced, like watching that movie.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff. Good. All right, let's move on to critical thinking. As I've shared earlier, is there any item here that you want to go ahead and discuss in relation to the session regarding wherein we discuss control, hardy personality, hopeless personality? Is there anything that you want to clarify or dive a little bit deeper with?
On the green box of intellectual traits, empathy.
Mm-hmm.
This is something I'm always about. Every time I see someone who's homeless or hopeless, this is the hopeless personality.
Mm-hmm.
I feel so bad for them. I want to give them at least $1. But
Want to give them what? I'm sorry?
I want to give them some money. I want to give them $1. But the thing is, of course, we have to take care of ourselves first.
So we contribute in other ways instead.
Yes.
Just like what we're doing here.
Yeah.
To provide hope to other people, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm not really going to go into the details of this, but in church we have these baskets and we put in money for our organization. And yeah, we're gonna use that money to buy, say, chicken, and then give it to the people on the road. So that's my empathy.
You're using empathy in that regard. Okay. Well, I don't know about us buying chicken and giving it to somebody else.
So that's the church.
Oh, the church that does that. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
But in terms of church, we also contribute by doing community service, if you may. Right? All right. Good. So you're using empathy in that regard that you are developing regarding intellectual traits. And for somebody who has a hopeless personality.
Yes.
That is a great example right there. Good. Okay, higher order thinking, scientific thinking, metacognition. Is there anything here in relation to the discussion last time?
In the first option, what do you want to create or evaluate or analyze or apply? I'm not sure if this totally fits within that sentence, but I wanted to create a mini room for me to fit in out of these sticks, plastic sticks with connectors. I don't know how to describe it though, so I created a room, and that was kind of my hardy personality.
Mm-hmm.
I put in commitment in it, so yeah, I created the room, and
You committed to something that you want to go ahead and complete, right?
yes, so it served its first purpose as a room. I slept in it last night, so
Okay. You slept in the room of the room.
yeah.
All right, good. That's something that you have created, and to display your hardy personality, that you're creating something.
Yes, though
right.
It's in the past. Not it's what I want Ed to create, not want to create.
Okay, sounds good. Cool. Very solid examples today, Miko. So we'll go ahead and continue then.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So now we are going to discuss survivor personality, as I've shared earlier. Okay. And here is that you have a winning attitude to overcome adversity and challenges regardless of odds. So going back to that Scrabble, for example, you discussed a winning attitude that even if this person has a way higher rating than you, that you went and competed against this person. And sure, the results yielded a win, but more importantly is, what did you do in order to win? So that's the aspect of survivor personality, because sometimes the odds are against us, and yet we need to go ahead and find ways to go ahead and win and be as successful as possible. Okay?
Okay, hang on. Sorry.
You're fine.
Okay.
All right. Let's move on to the next one. Survivor personality is biphasic. What it means is that we are activating both left side and right side of our brains. So for example, with what you are doing with the sticks or rods and connectors, you are being creative about it, in creating things and yielding and coming up with something. And so you're using both your left brain and your right brain, or basically just like what we discussed in our life and learner success regarding the practical part or the analytical part in relation to the creative part. Go ahead, you're about to say something.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this takes me back to my memories so long ago. So, in my third grade class, we had a book that had all these puzzles and stuff about the brain.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was called How to Be a Genius.
Okay.
How you can train your brain and improve it, something like that. And I read it, and I learned that the left side of the brain was and correct me if I'm wrong, the left side of the brain was the active part, and the right side was the mental part. thinking part. The right side is mental, left side is physical. So, yeah, I am just trying to relate it to this.
You're absolutely correct that to be a genius or to be very successful, we need to use both sides of the brain. But let's clarify. They say that the left brain is more the analytical part or the
Oh, okay.
problem-solving hemisphere. And the right hemisphere is something for the artistic or creative side. But generally speaking, the brains, it's not super independent that, oh, finding solutions is just the left side of the brain and that's it. And, oh, okay, when you're drawing, it's just the right side of the brain. So recent research identified that we're using the whole brain.
Of course.
The bottom line is that you need to harness both analytical side and the creative side. And that's why going back to our life and learner success, that which we will do in the next 2 hours or so, there is that practical, the creative, and the analytical component, meaning we are using our full brain. And here we are in terms of survivor personality. It's related to that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Okay.
The important thing is that you remembered something back in the day, which is what, a year ago?
Yeah.
Back in the day, which was a year ago.
No, it was 2 years ago, in 2018.
2018? Okay.
2018 when I read that.
Okay, 2 years ago. Okay, fine. But the important thing is that you remember that, you connected that subject matter to what we're discussing right now.
That was the most famous book in the class.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
So we can learn.
Okay. To harness your brain as much as you could, right?
Yeah. I think I was about the 23rd person to get it, or probably the last, I'm not sure.
Okay. Good.
But I had my weight. And
it's very important that your generation continues to learn, continues to study, because like what you said, you will be taking care of our generation, because I think how our generation is doing so well in preparing you guys. So that's why we're doing this. So, all right. Very good. Good. All right, let's move on to the next one. Let's move on now to self-esteem. And I know this was the subject matter from before, but let's dive a little bit deeper. With self-esteem is that you focus on your values, you accept who you are, and you love yourself. You love yourself not to be selfish, but you love yourself so you can continue to take care of yourself, because you cannot take care of others if you cannot take care of yourself. Does that make sense?
yeah, kind of the topic of the homeless people.
Yes, related to that. That we need to take care of ourselves, sure. But at the same time, it's not a matter of being selfish, but we try to contribute in our other ways. And just like going back to this in relation to top vertical staffing solutions, this is the reason why we're doing this. So hopefully we can help out others in one shape or form. And then at the same time, we're highlighting all of these nonprofit organizations who are doing really good stuff. So, yeah, that's that. Okay. So in terms of my specific self-esteem is that hopefully I'm helping your generation out, and that as we promote these nonprofit organizations, that we're helping them as well in a shape or form, or just like what you mentioned earlier, if somebody's feeling a little bit hopeless, hopefully these sessions are helping you out to have a hardy personality or a survivor personality. All right, our sensor has gone down, so I assume that's about 30 minutes here. All right, You're doing great. All right. Cool. Let's move on.
Hey, wait, sorry.
You're fine. So as you can see here from the verbiage of this person with the winning nonverbal cue, you're fully alive, you're completely enough, you're working with your heart's desire, you are your own courage, you feel safe, you feel secure. So, right.
That's not what I thought. I thought that person was looking up with his fist because he was annoyed or angry.
No, this is the winning personality. When you win something, you raise your hand, right?
Personality. This is
Sure. I'm so upset. I get what you mean, but no, it's if you read the verbiage here, it's more of those. It's more that you want. Yeah, he should have raised his hands a little bit more.
That's what I was kind of confused.
Yeah, I get that perspective as well.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. But no, it's more of I have succeeded.
Yeah.
All right, good. And I'm glad you clarified. That's great. Okay, let's move on to the next for self-esteem. You focus on action and free will. For this person, I don't think anybody's forcing him to go ahead and carry, what, 800 pounds?
Let's see.
If that's a 100-pound plate or 50-pound plate or maybe 400 pounds, I don't know. It's a lot. And plus the bar, that's another 50 pounds. So this guy, I'm sure that's his choice, that he wants to do this. And for him to do this, that's his action. And I assume his self-esteem in terms of carrying really heavy stuff is pretty good. Okay?
Wow.
With self-esteem, we always focus on our actions and our free will of choosing to do so. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next in self-esteem is that we live continuously and we stay at the present time, which is right now. So right now you are focused on this slide, not on the session later, not on the session next week. You are focused on this slide.
Not in the session an hour from now.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what I'm worrying about.
Oh, why? I don't know about worrying. Hopefully you're not extremely worried that you are not functioning.
No.
That you
What
are,
I mean by worried is about I'm putting it into my mind.
that you're focusing on this. That's it.
Yeah, it's
Okay. Yeah. Because worry may sound
word of vocabulary.
negative.
I'm trying to improve it, but
That's fine. But that's why we continue to do this, right? To continue to get better.
Yep.
All right. Good, good. Good with the slide. Are you done staying in the present with this slide that you focus on now? Okay. Let's move on to the next one. With the winner here, self-acceptance. You accept who you are. Meaning we know who we are, we know our likes, our dislikes, what our goals are, what our vision is, and so on and so forth. And we accept that. We just want to continue. But at the same time, we don't just accept and that's it. But we continue to find ways to get better. So we also accept our limitations, but we don't just stop there. But we find ways to continue to get better. Okay? So that's another way to develop self-esteem or have that characteristic of a successful self-esteem. Okay? The next one is self-responsibility. And if you are responsible, then you gain competence. So just like the example that you mentioned earlier, you have identified that you have to take care of your responsibilities because you want to. And if you do those, then your self-esteem continues to develop in a healthy way. And if your self-esteem develops in a healthy way, then you develop the necessary competence, just like what you have said, that you will be competent in taking care of me if I absolutely cannot take care of myself anymore. Okay? But of course, on my end, I need to continue to be responsible for myself regardless of what my age is. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
What? Anything you want to share? Go ahead.
No, I was trying to think of a pun for that.
Oh, okay. So that's good. Share it with me after the session, okay? I'd love to hear it.
Okay.
All right. Let's move on to the next one. Modern self-esteem is self-assertiveness. That you are assertive in getting things done. Like this young gentleman right here, I'm sure he was assertive in completing his degree, his program. It's not something that is just given out of nowhere. That he worked and put in the necessary effort to be successful. And here, in terms of completing a degree. So that's self-assertiveness right there. Next is living purposefully. So what's the root word here?
I don't know which word.
Purposefully.
Oh, okay, purpose.
Yes. Okay. So what do I keep reminding you? What is your number 1 job, your number 2 job, and your number 3 job?
My number 1 job is being a student.
Exactly.
My number 2 job is being a student. My number 3 job is being a student.
Yes, that you continuously learn, and that's your main purpose at this age right now. Go ahead.
Being a student in different topics, of course.
Yes.
Being a student in school, being a student at home, and being a student out there. So
in life.
with myself, I'm the student and the teacher.
Yes, and I have learned from you in so many levels. For example, with the laptop that we were working on yesterday, you showed me how to put in the battery.
Put in, pull out. Yeah. Well,
good.
You just have to analyze it. So, yeah.
And that's what it is. That is your main purpose right now, and you're doing really good. For example, going through all of these sessions. Okay? All right, good. Next, to develop self-esteem is to identify and live regarding personal integrity, wherein the values that you have for yourself, it matches your actions. So, for example, if you value learning, then your actions should be about learning as often as you could. And that's where personal integrity will go ahead and come in order to continuously develop your self-esteem. So with personal integrity, you identify what you value, and you live your day-to-day life based on what you do, guided by such values. And this is a good preview of our life and learner success later on, as we will discuss values a little bit further. Okay? All right. More on self-esteem. The importance of being connected and following models that we learn. So sure, I'm glad I'm sharing something with you regarding my Scrabble prowess or skills, but I'm very far from those really, really competent in playing Scrabble. So
yeah, the inventor.
Yes. So the reason why I have this picture of Gandhi and Mother Teresa is because if it's about connecting to other people, these are good models to follow and learn from, and how to connect to other people, especially the people or individuals that may feel like they are left behind. They're not part of the society. So these are good individuals to learn from, as a good model to follow, and then at the same time to continue to find ways on how we can develop and make good of being connected to other people. More in self-esteem, then we find ourselves unique. Again, it's not a matter of I'm super special and everybody else is beneath me. That's not the point. But the point is, you yourself, Miko, you are your own individual. Just the same thing as she is her own individual in the picture here, and the dude here is his own individual. But we're all unique in our own ways. What can we contribute to the greater good? And that will help us in developing our self-esteem. More about self-esteem. We have this picture again. The power. That we know we have the power, not necessarily lifting 500 pounds or 800 pounds, whatever the weight here is. But the power that we know we have, going back to the locus of control, that we have the power to go ahead and choose and act on things that we want to work and achieve. That's what the power is about, discussing in self-esteem. So, though this image is powerful, but it's not only about physical strength, but we have the power. Go and flex those. But we have the power to go ahead and determine what our actions would be in order to achieve whatever goals we want to achieve. Good so far?
Yep.
All right. More about self-esteem is to disarm the negative critic. All right. So whoever's being negative here, the one on the right side here. Yeah, go ahead.
Disarming makes me think of Harry Potter. His signature spell is the disarming spell, and the first time he ever did it was against his rival, Draco Malfoy, and he was kind of the negative critic, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
He focuses, yeah.
And Harry Potter's go-to move is to disarm other wizards? Or?
Yeah. Expelliarmus, yeah.
Huh. See, I'm learning. I really don't know much about Harry Potter. Thank you for sharing.
Okay.
That's what it is with being negative critic. That I can go ahead and say, oh, I feel so bad. I don't know anything about Harry Potter, and everybody else seems to know something about it. But for me, okay.
At least you know the name.
Huh?
At least you know the name.
Yeah, well, yeah, hopefully. I mean, I've seen the movies, but I haven't read the book. No.
The books are way better.
I can imagine. And I think that's what they've said. But at the same time, the movies draw a different element into it. But no doubt, books are absolutely way better. No doubt. So going back to this, disarming the negative critic, yeah. So you get the picture of what that is.
Yeah.
If we put ourselves down, we try to lessen that, to reduce that, and focus on how we can improve instead. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Good. More on self-esteem. We have a picture of a juicy, luscious food here. Because we need to reward ourselves. And you know me, food is a good reward for myself, right?
Yeah. You'll take that any day.
So positive reinforcement is we need to reward ourselves. And I know we have discussed this in one shape or form, whether through life and learner success or this session, but we try to identify that we give ourselves rewards. So for example, when we finished the laptop and in improving it to an SSD drive and replacing the battery.
Yeah, I remember.
The positive reinforcement is, okay, let's play a Scrabble game.
Yeah.
Okay? Good. Next.
Oh, can you go back real quick? Sorry.
The positive reinforcement.
Okay, thank
That's
you.
another way for us to continue to get better with self-esteem. The next one for self-esteem is to avoid should-haves. I should have that car, that fancy car right now. Or I should have that body of hers if I'm a girl. Now, okay, going back to self-acceptance is we continue to be as healthy as possible. All right, so that's more of that. We should avoid thinking I should be having this right now, whatever this is. That's not going to help with our self-esteem. Clear?
Yep.
More about self-esteem, as mentioned, is to focus on who you are. You love yourself. Again, stay true to who you are. What works best for you. And that's what it is. Don't try to change yourself just to impress whoever. Sure, it's good to modify a little bit. Yes, focus on who you are. And you love yourself that way. Next, for self-esteem, we have this picture again. This is comparisons. Should I be squatting with 400 pounds, 500 pounds, 800 pounds?
Just so you can match.
So you
Sure.
match this guy? No, I don't need to. I don't have the need for me to do that.
It's basically just matching a picture. Trying to be a picture.
Yes.
So,
I mean, if I'm really going to be serious in being a weightlifter, sure. But I that's not who I am. That's not my goal. So I shouldn't be thinking I should be as physically as strong as this guy. No, I don't have to. So, for example, going back to our Friday events of Exercise Buddy, isn't that what we continuously share? That you do what you can, but don't be like me just for the sake of being like me, or be like you just for the sake of being like you. It's good to have models, sure, that's fine, but don't just compare just for the sake of comparing all the time. Go ahead, you're about to say.
why? How am I supposed to be like me? If that makes any sense.
What do you mean?
You said like me.
Like you?
Yeah, you said.
I mean, just going back to Harry Potter, you read a lot, you read quick. I want to be like you, but maybe not reading Harry Potter stuff. I'd rather read something more
Education.
science and nonfiction and stuff. So that's fine,
Well,
but I want to be as competent as you in terms of reading, on how quickly you read these really thick books. Go ahead, sorry.
yeah. It just made me thinking of all those fairy tales, myths, and legends.
What about?
And I'm not getting this from Harry Potter, it's just myths and legends, the stuff itself.
Okay.
Usually they have some basis in fact, right?
That they are, yes, so whatever stories that we have been in one shape or form is linked to an event that actually happened. But creative people just embellish them or make it more of something more than
Catching.
what it is. Yes.
Eye-catching, mouth-watering.
Yes. But they're put a little bit more fluff than what it is. Okay?
Oh. Yeah, it's more
Right.
from the dog.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. So that's self-esteem in terms of avoiding comparisons. And speaking of comparisons regarding self-esteem, you diversify your interests. So here, this is a video here of you learning keyboard. And this one, you were in your early days of?
Hang on.
Okay. When you diversify your interests, and that's what it is of using your whole brain, that you're doing a whole bunch of different things. You're learning programming, you're learning keyboard, you're doing gardening, we're doing all of these physical activities, we're hiking, and so on and so forth. So that's what it is in diversifying your interests. Go ahead, you're about to say?
Yeah.
I understand HTML is not programming, but I'm talking about advanced stuff now because we're doing more advanced stuff now.
That's not what I was going to say.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say that you caught my face in the blur.
Yes, it was a blur. That's how fast you are.
The camera.
Okay. The next aspect of self-esteem is to improve connections. And I know I've discussed that with the connectedness earlier, but you build these quality relationships that you have. And that's a very important thing to develop your self-esteem. Okay? Another way to develop self-esteem is to avoid self-victimization. And I know in our life and learner success, this is something that we are talking about, the victim versus the creator, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then we just talked about the hopeless personality that we try to avoid that. We focus on what can we control, what can we get better with. Okay?
Really? Can you go back to the other slide? Sorry.
Go ahead.
This is one of the most disturbing pictures.
Yeah, there's so many negative words here. Unlovable, insignificant, unimportant, shameful, wanted, yeah. And this is what we're trying to avoid. And I really don't want to focus on this, but that's what it is. And that's why we're focusing on the growth mindset, right?
Yeah, growth mindset.
All right, so do you think technology impacts who you are as a human being in terms of your personality?
Yes, of course, definitely.
This is a very huge part of our life, like what we're doing right now. I'm sure I could be sharing this with you in person, but we're trying to hit multiple birds with one stone here. Whatever I'm sharing with you, hopefully I get to share to everybody else, and hopefully it could help others.
Yep.
So with technology, hopefully it helps us in living with and working with stressors, and not just to be stressed out just for the sake of being stressed out. Cool?
Yep.
All right. And all right, review. Before I click here, what could you go ahead and do a review? What's the major topic that we have discussed for this afternoon?
Major topic. Survivor personality?
Yes?
Self-esteem.
Working on self-esteem.
And technically, technology.
Good use of words there. So you need to go ahead and survive. And this COVID-19 world that we're all facing right now, we need to continue to find ways of being safe. And that's where, so even if the odds are against us, even if at this, wherein we're recording, at least in our state, it seems like COVID-19 isn't spiking as much, but in other states, it's going really, really high.
Yeah, I feel kind of bad for those. those people.
Yeah, I don't want to focus on that. I want to focus on us continuously being responsible, washing hands, wearing masks when we're outside.
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
And you have to love yourself so you can survive. Because if you don't love yourself, what's the point?
Yes. Yep, you got that right. And as you love yourself, as you take care of yourself, then that's where a healthy self-esteem will go ahead and come in. And that's the most important word, healthy. Because I can go ahead and say, oh, I'm the best thing since sliced bread. Well, why would make you say that? No. Yeah, that's not the point. Okay? All right? Good?
Yep.
Alrighty. So we talk about what the importance of journaling, or at least discussing it. All right. So with self-esteem as a journal, that's what it is. You paraphrase your negative thoughts and identify your positive characteristics. Well, for example, for me, some of my negative thoughts is that there are times wherein I have missed the goals of what I am trying to achieve. And I have these negative thoughts of mine, and I need to find ways to phrase it in a positive way. Or what is it that I need to do in order to learn and succeed? So, and with whatever it is that I'm failing to achieve, or I have missed specific goals, I go ahead and identify and said, what can I do to get better so that I will achieve those goals next time around? And then you identify your positive characteristics. All right, what's a positive characteristic of mine? You keep on saying that I speak well. Well, that's something that I continue to develop. That's the feedback from you. So I continue to just get better with that. All right, and then hopefully you get to share your own examples next week regarding this, okay?
Okay.
All right. And then for willpower perspective, it is the importance of sleep, wherein it's quality over quantity. When you wake up, for the most part, what's the question that I always ask
you? Did you have good sleep?
Yeah, if you slept well, right?
Yes.
Because that's very important to me, and that's something I want you to have. Okay? So that's the importance of sleep right there. Okay? And it's quality over quantity. So did you sleep well sleeping in your room you built?
My room in the room. Yes. And speaking with quality over quantity.
Mm-hmm.
That changed a lot in my life, because I have only a few friends, but they're pretty good. And what I notice now is that it's not having most friends, and it's not really a competition either. It's just knowing that you can trust them, and yeah, you can trust them.
Yeah. And that's an important thing. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And that's what it is in terms of connectedness, that you want to continue to develop these relationships that you have with other people. Okay. All right. Good. Good. So, actually, going back to that, you mentioned earlier where's meditation in terms of the willpower, and that's what it is we're trying to practice right now, right? We are meditating and practicing deep breathing before we sleep. Correct?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Good. Let's move on to growth mindset here. We right or wrong, whatever mistakes are going to happen. We will all have mistakes. But the important thing is we focus on what can we do to make it right so we don't repeat the same mistake. And then, how do you see failures? Let me switch on the light here again. Okay. How do you see failures? How do you consider them? And is it that you're just failing? And for me, yeah, that's what I'm going to acknowledge right now, that sometimes when I'm failing on certain things, sometimes I do get bogged down by them. So it's just for me to continue to find ways to fight it and get better. The growth mindset right there.
Yeah.
All right.
And when you said dunk on, I was thinking of literally.
With which one?
Dunk down on.
The what?
Did you hear me?
The dunk?
Yeah, dunk down on. I was thinking of literally because, you know.
Oh, being
not really tall.
Okay.
So.
Okay. All right. Care to invite everybody to our events here?
So we have strength through stress. This is strength through stress is this class. We have life and learner success in 2 hours and 1 minute.
In 1 hour and 1 minute.
1 hour and 1 minute, yeah. Both Sunday. Life and learner success is at 7 p.m. And everything is Eastern time. We have Workout Buddy on February? Facebook at Friday 10 a.m. And our happy hour, which is videoke, and like I mentioned earlier, the Internet Scrabble Club at 10 p.m. Friday.
All right. Good stuff. Thank you. So, thank you. We'll see you next session. Please share and subscribe to our channel. We appreciate that. And these are the references that we have. All right. So we'll see you next week. Take care, everyone.
Thank you for watching, and I hope you found this video informational and educational. Please share our videos and subscribe to our channel. If not, my dad will not give me dessert.